Hey folks, welcome to another Triple T Thursday. For those just joining us, that's tools, tips, and talk, where we'll discuss info for the knife maker. We're going to continue our intermediate series this week. We're going to prep our knife for heat treat. We're going to be prepping the ricasso area and the shoulders, and then we're going to apply some clay. Let's go down to the table and take a look. So here's our knife from last week. We did the false edge and the bevel. Now we're going to turn our attention to the tang. So we need to basically get these shoulders nice and even. So we're going to be doing that with a file guide. But one thing I want to mention, if you're used to full tang knives, you might be tempted to drill a hole here in the tang. Don't do that. That makes it really, really difficult to spot that hole. So I'm going to show you another method. So don't drill that hole now. We're going to wait till after we heat treat and we prep the handle. Then we're going to do our hole, and you'll see how I do it. So first off, we're going to be using a file guide like this, just to lock this knife in and file these shoulders. So I've got this knife locked in a file guide, just so I can file these shoulders here, because we want those perfectly flat and the same. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. Some people will just do these parts. Another method is to actually file all the way around it, so there's a little step, so that the knife will actually sit on top of the guard. We're not going to do that method because I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it, or how I usually do it. I'm going to file these, and then we're going to hammer this onto the guard and actually imprint it into the guard. This isn't actually a carbide file guide because I don't actually use this for filing because I have a mill, but I'm going to use it anyway. You can see it's got some nicks from doing this on previous occasions. You're better off to get a carbide file guide so that you don't mar it up with the file. So there's our shoulders all filed. Looks pretty good. Alright, now let's go do some heat treating on this thing. We're going to get to the point where we've done all our normalization, thermocycling, and our anneal. I'm not going to show you guys that. You saw it in the beginner series. What I want to show you is how to apply clay. So I've gone ahead and done normalization, grain refinement, and annealing, so I'm ready to put the clay on because we're going to put a hamon on it. So first off, let's talk about hamon and what that process actually is. So we're going to differentially harden the blade. We're going to protect the spine, or the top of it, with clay, so it's not going to harden. So it will remain soft, and the edge will be nice and hard. And in between those two sections, you're going to see a line, and that's called, in the Japanese, called that a hamon. So that's going to be a differential hardening line. So it's both beautiful and has a purpose. So to get the best hamon, and some people will just take the clay and just kind of make a pattern on both sides. I've talked to some folks, and really the best way to get a really deep hamon is to use a template and put the clay on exactly on both sides, so it's opposing on both sides. Then you know, because if you put some clay here, but then on the other side, that doesn't have clay, and the clay is here, of course, it's not going to protect it as much. So if we have the clay exactly the same on both sides, that's going to work better. So what I've got is some of this kind of hard cardboard. I'm going to draw my hamon on here, cut it out, and then I'm going to use that as a template, and I'll be able to flip it over and use it on the other side. Remember guys, if you need anything knife related, steel, handle material, tools, you name it, check out Maritime Knife Supply. They got everything you need with quick shipping. So I've done my template. I've actually got it just packing taped on the back. Now we're going to start with the clay. I know you're going to ask me where I got this. I do not remember. It was a long time ago. But if you just go to Maritime or any of the knife supply places, you will find Hamon clay. So what we're going to do now is just try to kind of put that down the best we can, and we're just going to spread a bunch of this over our template. We're going to get it about 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe a little bit more. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to let this set up a little bit for a couple hours, clean my template, and then come back and do the other side. Because right now it's just so wet, I'm just going to mess it up if I try to do that. So there's the first side, and I did the other side. The important thing is if you look down the blade like this, you can see that they're kind of opposing as you go down, and that's what you want, nice and balanced. So we're going to let this dry for at least 24 hours, probably more like 48 hours. With this particular stuff, sometimes there's cracking because this is kind of wet. And if there is, I just go back and kind of fill that in after the first day. And just make sure it's just really well coated, especially down here at the bottom. Because people think that you want a nice sharp spike at the bottom, but you really don't. You kind of want the big blobs at the bottom to have more of a heat sink, because a taper point just means it's going to be much shallower up here. It's never quite as deep as the way you dream it will be. But I like the way it's set right now. I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to wrap up this video. I am off to Blade Show today, so making this one short. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. After the week, next week I'll be off as well, but we'll finish this up and at least get it heat treated and start on the more interesting thing like the guard. Alright guys, thanks. We'll see you on the next one.